All right, looks like everybody's coming in, almost in. Just like we've done in the past, go ahead and use the chat feature to chat questions that you have. I've got a couple of things to give you an update on, and then we'll dive into the chat. So first things first, update on the association packages, Southmont Cove and Wedgwood. We emailed those packages, that package information out to you late last week. We also put that at the on the website, so you can go to the club website, sign in, click on neighborhoods, click on your corresponding association, and there's a link there to that email. Sutton Walk in Waterford, I have those packages as well, and I should be able to get an email out tomorrow morning. I don't have nobody's in the administrative offices today, so I can't get an email out, but I will get that out to you tomorrow. And then we're just waiting then on Somerset Villas, and I'm still working with that group to finalize that, but hope to have that out to you hopefully sometime this week. So those are all out to you. As a reminder, and this was in the email, you know, these packages, it's really up to you how you want to handle and who you want to hire. We did this really just to give you at least one what we consider to be recommended vendor or somebody that's trustworthy. Everything that happens from this point forward with those vendors is really up to you, and they're all open to talking with you, answering your questions, etc. So I would encourage you to contact them with questions that you have. On the drywall side, Clyde Johnson and their workers have been off for Christmas. They return tomorrow. They did receive 3 additional trucks of drywall since they've been gone. They had one come in Friday and 2 on Saturday. They'll go back to positioning that drywall in the units that don't have them, staging them. And then we should see crews back on site tomorrow, and still receiving reports that there's additional crews coming after the New Year holiday from the one subcontractor. Of course, I'm sure we'll get updates on that this week, but we haven't, I really haven't talked with anybody from Clyde Johnson since midday Friday. So we'll have more probably to report on a later Zoom, and we may try to do a Zoom later this week if we've got more to report there. On the insurance side of things, we actually did receive a couple of checks that have come in with reports. We're hoping that really is the start of us seeing more and more of these coming in. As a reminder, all of these insurance policies are written on a per building basis. So all in all, we're going to have about 130 or so different checks and different reports sent to us. So having a couple in, while it's encouraging that we've got a couple to come in, we still got a lot more to go. So I don't have anything else to report on insurance other than we're still waiting on those reports to come in. But I think it's good news that we've seen a couple, and if it's like the adjusting process, once they're here, once they start coming in, we should start seeing more and more come in more quickly. LCA amenity update, no real update other than, in case you saw them there, we did move forward late last week and put drywall in the fitness center. The reason we did that was that our flooring for that area showed up, and we need to try to accommodate the flooring contractor's timeline for installing it, and we needed that drywall up. Other than that, we're still holding off on getting at drywall with LCA amenities until we feel like we're fully underway in all 5 associations with drywalling. So, but in case you noticed that they did go in there and hang that drywall last week, just so we'd be ready for that flooring to be installed, which could happen later this week, we hope. So, all right, I'm going to jump into some questions here. I see a few already. So, here's a question about a package with Wedgwood and DSW about upgrades. Again, I'm just going to advise. I mean, I think all of these contractors are willing to work with you. I would direct all questions you have about the packages to the contractors. I'm not going to be able to let you know if there's upgrade options available or what they are. But from my talks with them, I believe that they certainly can answer your question, and I think they want to work with you. So give them a call. Wanted to know where we are at with water heater replacement or not. Will they be replaced? Definitely, and by whom and by when? We've said this before. It's going to be the owner's responsibility to replace the water heater if that's what they elect to do. We're confident that the water heater is included in the insurance proceeds and report, but it's the owner responsibility to get that replaced if you want that. Do I have a schedule for the garage power washing at Sutton Walk? Will it be this week or not until after New Year's? I think they were trying to get that contractor in at Sutton Walk this week, but they're going to start with the pool house first, I believe. I don't know if Sutton Walk sent an update late last week or not, but we'll try to. I'll try to talk with them to see if they can put a communication out. But if you're in Sutton Walk, you have been advised now on many occasions to please get your personal property out of your garages. So that way, when the power washing team does come through, there'll be no delay. They won't skip over your garage. So if you're not down here, I would suggest trying to contract somebody to come out and do that for you. Southmont Cove owner never received an email for a package deal. Sorry that you didn't get that. It was sent to all Southmont Cove owners. I assume you're getting emails from us elsewhere, or you have before. It is on the website. I explained before, go to the website, sign in, click on neighborhoods, click on Southmont Cove. It's about the 5th or 6th link down on that page. I think it's labeled restoration packages, but you can get that information there. Our exterior door handle was knocked off by CJC during mediation. Jen R advised that Waterford will be replacing all exterior doors, assuming the order has been placed for the doors. Can you advise a tentative schedule for installation? I don't have a schedule for installation. Waterford, I believe, is one of the associations that did a mass order on those doors, but I don't have any information to share. I would expect, ordering 100+ doors is going to take a little bit of time. And I would think that the installation of doors will probably happen during the restoration process. So it's not going to happen anytime. I can't imagine the next couple of weeks for sure. Elevators working at Waterford condos on Millstone. I know Mr. Single put an update out last week about the elevators. Hopefully you're getting those emails. I don't have that in front of me to report specifically, but he was actually talking about elevators that are what they define as critical being ones that are probably past the ability to replace parts on that need to be renovated or refurbished. If you're not getting those emails, I would say call the front desk tomorrow and make sure you're on that list. But they just sent an email out about that late last week. Why is it taking longer for Somerset Villas? Really two things in Somerset. First of all, Somerset, your vacate order happened at the end of October, whereas the other 4 associations happened during that 2nd and 3rd week of October. So you really got about a 3-week delay in starting. Also, you've got 200 units in Somerset, so it comprises about 2/5 of the overall project. We've got about a little over 500 units total that are going under remediation, and Somerset has 200 of them. And it's more spread out. They can't work as efficiently as they can in a true condo complex where those crews, like at Southmont Cove, there's 10 units in one building. They're all right there working. They're not having to mobilize again. But those are the reasons why Somerset is behind the other 4 association. I don't have an answer to the question of how many drywallers will be on site and installing drywall tomorrow. I don't have that number. We were seeing there last week up until the Christmas break, anywhere from 65 to 90 or so installers that were on site each day. I would expect something similar to that. So again, another restoration question. I don't have the answers for these. Best thing to do is to call the contractor and talk to them if you have specific questions about what the package entails. Correct. Question about interior. Hopefully you're asking about interior doors here. Correct. There is no association that is purchasing interior doors. So the interior doors to the units, we believe there'll be coverage there in the insurance reports and proceeds, but it'll be something that's done in restoration, which means it'll be an owner responsibility to replace the interior doors. Your association is not getting that. So when will you be removing the ceramic tile that was damaged during remediation by Clyde Johnson? It was damaged to multiple rooms. I don't think anybody said that they're going to remove that tile. At this point, we've just asked you to notify. Lexington's keeping a master list for the associations on any any issues anybody had with damages, but there's no, as far as I know, there's no process, there's no determination on how those issues will be resolved at this point. But so I don't have any information on when they're going to be removed, but I don't think they're going to be removed in the remediation process. We just finished upgrading our place last year, putting in new vanities, a lot of money, cabinetry, showers, vanities. Are we entitled to insurance money to cover the cost of replacing it as it was before? Yeah, I think we've definitely covered that quite a few times as well. This is a like and kind policy. So our understanding is if you had something that was newer, more upgraded than maybe the base package or the original package from your unit, then you should see higher insurance proceeds to cover that. So. Please explain correct procedure for Somerset villas after 1x2 boards are installed, then insulation. Sure. So the furring strip, I think you're referring to, which is the wooden strip that's put around the areas where there's concrete walls, so they can put the baseboards in. Those are installed. Then insulation's installed. There's an inspection that takes place after the insulation has been installed. Once that's done, then they can move to actually hanging drywall. After hanging drywall, they'll put a tape over the seams. They'll fix the corners with corner rods. Then they'll do a mud, let the mud dry. They'll sand that and they'll put a second mud on it. They'll also replace the outlets that needed to be replaced, and then do a construction clean. And then a final inspection. I missed one step. After the drywall is hung, there is another inspection from Lee County to confirm the correct screw pattern. So there's an inspection prior to the mudding. We've contacted Southmont Cove package contractor without any return contact. Is that normal protocol? I think over the holidays it is. I thought we put in the letter, I know we did for sure for Wedgwood, that with the holidays, we weren't certain as to when these offices were open. A lot of offices around here were closed Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and today. So I would suggest waiting again till tomorrow and then try to reach out to them. But they've all been very responsive to me. If you're not getting a return call, I'm assuming they're probably gone because it was Christmas. Where are we on drywall for Waterford? I don't have a specific update on where everybody's at in each community. I mean, at this point in the process, that information's coming from really your association, who would have more timely information on that. And I would expect next week, if you didn't get an update last week, and I think they did send an update, you should get an update here this week on that. I thought it was mandatory for us to replace water heaters. Moments ago, you said if we choose to replace it. I've never said it's mandatory to replace your water heater. Water heaters, we believe, are in the insurance proceeds. Some may elect to just put the water heater back in that came out. The reason they took water heaters out was so they get the drywall out around the water heater. I think most people probably will choose to replace their water heater. I mean, there's probably a good chance that Cat 3 water potentially infiltrated that. But that's totally up to you. That's why I said choose to replace your water heater, but I've never said it's mandatory. Any update on Greenboard? Yeah, they got Greenboard in last week. I know some of those units in Southmont Cove that was waiting on Greenboard that finally came in, and I believe they started installing some of it before they left for Christmas. No, CJC is not working today. We communicated that out a while back, that they took off Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Yeah, we are at Bridgestone Court. We received an email to submit pictures of our units. We did, but I am hoping they had pictures already because it was upgraded. Yeah, just so you know, and I addressed this at the Sutton Walk meeting last week. Those of you at Sutton Walk on Bridgestone Court, yes, the assurance adjusters were asking for if owners had any before pictures, just to verify that they got the right materials recorded on their report in terms of the type of flooring you had, type of cabinetry. That's all that was. I think some people misunderstood or misread that email. It was the adjuster for the insurance company wanting to make sure that this first report that they're submitting, that hopefully that they include everything correctly. So they were just asking for help there. And being only 24 units, they thought that was a better process than to wait to do extra supplemental claims down the road. So why aren't the year-rounders getting priority as we were originally told? There has been proof in a Somerset Villas of a team working on a unit. I'm not going to read this whole question. I don't have anything to do with associations and priority lists. Zero. That is an association matter. If you've got questions about if you think they're not abiding by their priority list, that's something you need to take up with the association boards. I'm in meetings with these guys every week. I can tell you they review these priority lists. I can tell you that they're talking to CJC about where to go next, that sort of thing. So I can tell you they're certainly not disbanding it. But if you've got any issues with that, you need to take that up with your association. Is Wedgwood one of the associations getting new exterior doors? I need to confirm that. I think pretty much all the excuse me. I think all the associations will probably go ahead and do all new exterior doors. What I can't remember is if Wedgwood has officially said, yes, we're doing that, and has placed that order yet. And it could possibly be that they're just waiting to make sure that, to confirm that all those doors are on their insurance policy. But I think, assuming they are, I think all your associations will go ahead and mass order front doors, because that is an association related expense. At least the exterior part of that is. So I would say you can assume they are. Has remediation been complete in any units? Have any units been released back to the owners? As of last Thursday afternoon, not that I'm aware of, no. I do know that Southmont Cove probably will have the first set of units that'll be released. I don't have a time frame on where they're at. I know last week they were waiting on some more of that green board to come in, but I don't have any updates and not aware of anybody that's been released. Are you going to clean tile before releasing the units? Yeah, your unit will get a good construction clean. So yes, the tile will be clean and sanitized before releasing. Any update on drywall approval, tape and mud stands needed before vacate lifted? I think I just answered that with the process. Any update on drywall approval, tape and mud stands need before vacate lifted? If you're asking about the inspection or the approval process, I just mentioned that there's an inspection after insulation and an inspection after the screws go into the drywall. So are the workers off next weekend? I don't know. We haven't discussed that yet. I know they definitely discussed. We discussed that last week about them taking off for Christmas. You know, a lot of the workers that are here don't live in Fort Myers. I would expect them potentially to take off at least New Year's, but I'm not sure that they're taking off New Year's Eve and the Monday after. So I don't have that information right now. We are non-resident owners at Waterford. What is an approximate date for us to arrive to Lexington to dig in? How soon can we stay in our condo? I don't have a date for you. I mean, any timeline dates are going to be given out by your association. I haven't provided any approximate or any guesses at dates But you won't be able to stay in your condo until the vacate order has been released, and that vacate order will be lifted on a unit by unit basis as soon as they're done with the last step, which is the construction, clean, and final inspection. So I don't really have a date for you. Yeah. Do you know if the Southmont Cove floors were scrubbed before the piles of our belongings were formed? I don't know that, but I do know that they talked about repositioning anything that may be stacked up and cleaning the floors underneath them in that final clean. Interior doors included in restoration packages. That's my understanding they are. But again, any restoration package, please contact the contractor. I'm not going to give any information. I know what I've discussed with them. They've put out their contact information. Now it's your turn to ask them all the questions that you have, and they can answer them for you. I'm going to start skipping over any restoration package questions starting right now. So I'll answer this one though. Is air conditioner and water heaters replacement part of the restoration insurance coverage or remediation? From an insurance coverage perspective, it doesn't really matter where the costs come from, but if an owner for ACs and water heaters, that is going to be something the owner can do in restoration. So it's going to be an owner responsibility to be taken care of. I can tell you, I will answer this question as far as packages go. I did advise all the contractors not to include appliances, air conditioners, hot water heaters, because there was no way telling who already had those purchased or not. So those types of items are not in these restoration packages from these contractors. Are the glass slider doors under our HOA association insurance claim? We believe so. Yes, we believe that if it's a ground floor unit, it'll be under the flood coverage, and if it's an upper floor unit, it will be on the property wind coverage, assuming that those are still original to the building. So again, that's a question that we've had come up before that really isn't going to be confirmed until we see the adjuster's report, but that's where we believe coverage is. We believe there's coverage for those things. Yes. Yeah. How long will it take drywalling, mudding, and sanding twice, electric outlets, and all inspections for all buildings? At Southmont Cove, they appear to have been there for over 2 weeks, off and on, with pallets of mud in the driveway. Are any buildings completed? Yeah, I can't tell you the time it takes. And I think I mentioned before, in Southmont Cove, they did have a couple of delays, and that's why the crews kept moving on as opposed to completing one building at a time, because they were holding up for one thing or another. Maybe something didn't pass inspection. The green board supply was an issue at one point. So I don't have an expected time frame. I would think now that some of those issues have been resolved, that would be the next step in the process, is try to create an expectation, if you will, on once they start hanging a piece of drywall on your unit, how long does it take to do everything else in that process? But it's definitely days. I mean, if you're getting drywall hung tomorrow, you're not going to be in your unit on Wednesday. I mean, it's still a process to go through the drywalling phase. I'm going to pass over. I mean, some of you guys that have specific questions about your bike in your garage and things like that, I mean, if you want to email them to me, you can. I mean, I'm going to let you know that, I mean, if you've got property in your garage and you can't be here to take it out and it needs to be thrown away, then you probably need to hire somebody to do that for you. A bike, a shop vac, something small that remains in Sutton Walk like that, the power wash company will just push it to the side. But if you've got things in there that have been damaged because of the water, or things that can't get wet, I would suggest taking care of those things. That's your personal property. So is the insulation going to be more soundproof to current standards? Yes, my understanding is the R factor in the insulation that they're putting in all units is higher than what was in there before. And also, after I researched what R factor was, that is part of soundproofing as well as heat and cooling insulation. So it is a better grade of insulation than what was in there before. Do the associations have internal door measurements for each unit we can get? I haven't seen that anywhere. I haven't seen that number. It may be something if you want to try to email Scott, who'll be back in tomorrow. Maybe he's got construction plans. The only floor plans that I've seen we put out there on the website are more the sales generated floor plans, but I don't think they have measurements of doors on them. So any update on the Sutton Walk pool? Nothing since the Sutton Walk board meeting where I reported that we're still waiting for the one pump to come in. It's a pump that essentially controls the chemical levels throughout the day, so the pool remains balanced. So we can't open that pool until that is fixed. So waiting on that to arrive. When will we get a copy of the estimate damage report for our unit? If so, will the report give us a dollar amount for the damage to our unit? Again, these are the insurance reports, and I don't know when those are coming in. I mentioned at the start of the meeting, we did get a few come in last week, a couple, I shouldn't even say few. But when we get those, your association needs obviously to review them. And they need to also complete invoicing with Clyde Johnson. And then, yes, the process is going to be to get you the ability to look at these reports and hopefully, in my eyes, hopefully send that with a check to you, at least for something to start with, to get you started in the process. So. Yeah. If you've got a question about your unit and something not being removed, again, that's something that you can email me and I'll forward it on to your association or Clyde Johnson. The Bridgestone picks are picks before the storm or after? Before the storm. Before the storm, I believe, is what they're looking for. I mean, if you have after the storm, you can send them as well. But my understanding was the adjusters were looking for information to make sure that they got things written up correctly. But if you've got photos of your unit and you're in Sutton Walk and you want to send those, then follow that email we sent out and send those in. And to be safe, go ahead and send before and after. When Ian first happened, we were told to go to their trailer to get on a priority list, which I did. I was one of the first 10. So now it's our association. Yeah, I mean, I think you're alluding to like the week after the storm, before your associations took over this process, where owners could come to Clyde Johnson's trailer and register to have their unit remediated. And then once the understanding happened that this was a flood event and the master flood policy was going to kick in, that's when the association kicked in. When I was talking about talk to your association about a priority list, some associations have went back and tried to identify full-time residents and making them a priority to get drywall installed first. So that's what I was referring to. But yes, that is an association issue. You can talk to them. It has nothing to do with Lexington or Clyde Johnson at this point in time. Are Sutton Walk exterior doors being replaced? I think I answered that just a little bit ago. My understanding is I think all associations will probably go forward and replace exterior doors. But I don't have confirmation from every association that they've pulled the trigger on that yet. Waterford master bedroom window won't close. Would that be covered by association insurance? We think so. We're waiting for that report to confirm that original as well as any replacement windows would be covered under that policy. We think the originals will for sure. If you haven't already sent in a message to us that identifies you have a problem with your window, then please do that. We've been asking now for quite some time for you to report that type of damage on the second floors and up, and we can have a master list going and give that to your association. Yeah, in terms of replacing exterior doors, they're replacing just doors or door frames. I think it's the whole unit, doors and frame. That's my understanding. I don't know for sure, but that would be my understanding. Southmont Cove, we removed the carpeting in our 2 bedrooms after the flood. Will new carpeting be covered in our remediation package? I mean, you will have insurance proceeds to replace that carpeting, yes. In terms of, if you're talking about the restoration package for that contractor, it just depends what the contractor has spec'd out for these units. So that's something you may want to contact them and ask. But in terms of proceeds from the insurance, yes, there's coverage. There's going to be coverage there to replace that carpet. Like in kind is the insurance policy. So like in kind. Can you inhabit a condo if no plumbing? We mentioned this a while back. Whether you decide to reside in your unit after the vacate order is lifted is really up to you and your understanding of what you need to have to legally reside in a unit. The association it is something the association is going to monitor, but it is something Lee County potentially could. So that's going to be up to you how you want to handle things once the vacate order has been lifted. If our jacuzzi tub was never removed, do we consider that usable, or is that still to be removed? I think for the most part, it really depends on where you're at and where they're at in the process. But there's definitely been times where they could tell that tubs or showers could be saved because they could access maybe an interior wall, confirm there was no water behind it, that sort of thing. So there's a good chance if it's not been removed at this point, that it's going to stay there. There is no estimated date when we receive the first insurance payment we can use towards restoration. We've mentioned this a few times as well, that your association doesn't sit on a pile of money. They really are a nonprofit. And so we need insurance proceeds to come in for your association to turn around and then issue you a check for some of those proceeds. So the process starts with your association getting those checks. And to date, we've had a couple of checks come in for about 130 buildings. So we, at least we're getting a check in, but we're still very slow in that process. How do we file a damage claim with CJC? Again, we mentioned this before. If you think something's been damaged from Clyde Johnson, you can send us an email here at Lexington. We have a master spreadsheet we're keeping. There has been no decision, no discussion, no procedure on what, if anything, is going to be done with these claims. But Lexington is helping out by noting these for you on kind of our master spreadsheet of every single unit. So, third floor unit has not sustained damage. Okay to move in January. No remediation, no restoration necessary. Absolutely. I mean, if you've been one of the lucky ones and you have any damage and you're on an upper floor, there's nothing restricting you from coming here. The vacate order is for first floor units only. Any idea when I can get my window replaced since it's boarded up, or do I find a glass company to do the repair? Just so we've got a vendor on site that's working through the community. I think they've been in Waterford recently doing reglazing on glasses, on glass damage. I don't know where they're at in terms of each association, but we did confirm with Clyde Johnson that they've went through and they've put orders in for all of the window repairs that were necessary. But I don't have any update on where they're at in that process right now, where that contractor is in that process in the community. Yeah, in terms of disposing of appliances, the process is still the same right now. If you've got appliances that need to go ahead and take them out to the curb, put them in its own separate pile, or find another appliance pile started. Make sure that it's out by the road. Make sure it's not on a sprinkler head or by a main water line. And we are fairly confident we're going to see the second official loop of the FEMA trucks probably the second week of January. So definitely one more shot to get those disposed of. After that, though, if you're going to replace your appliances after the second week of January, please contract with your vendor to remove the appliance when they deliver you the new one, because there's no guarantee that FEMA is going to be around a third time. Most of us have 4 phone wall jacks and interface in the laundry room. Is CJC going to restore them back, or is it the owner's responsibility? Yeah, I mean, anything that was currently there, they're going to make sure that that is there once the drywall has been put back on. So, I mean, if you have a phone jack, if you've got an electrical outlet, those are all going to be replaced. Yeah, I'm just skipping over a couple questions that I just don't really have answers, or I'm not sure if you're asking me a question. They removed my tub and left on the floor. It has a chip. Why did they not dispose of it? I have no idea. I would assume maybe they thought that it was still usable or something you maybe wanted. I mean, that's probably why they left it there. Why routinely replace all exterior doors, including ones that were not damaged? That takes away insurance money from those who are actually flooded and actually have damage. So I don't think your association is just going to replace them that didn't have damage. But again, any of those doors that took on any water, the standard is to replace those. And I think for most of you all, your front door took on water. So that's probably more of an association question to answer, but I think you're probably dealing with 98% of the doors, at least in the community. There may be some in Somerset Villas that didn't take on water, and I would expect them not to replace those doors. That's what I would think they would do. Yeah, there is no procedure to distribute insurance checks. We haven't gotten to that point, but once we get there, we'll let you know what that procedure is. Can water heaters be placed in the appliance piles? I believe they can be. Yes, I believe so. I do not have an average claim payment that I've received so far per unit. I don't have that. I think it's way too early for me to even speculate on the fact that we've gotten a couple of checks in. I just don't think it's the time to at least estimate what those are. I mean, you're dealing with 5 different associations that all have multiple floor plans, and this is all pretty much all based on square footage and what each unit has. So it would be, I think it would be irresponsible of me to even speculate based on 2 claims coming in of 135. To clarify, if we need to fix or replace a sliding glass door, should we do it ourselves, or is the HOA going to do it? We think that's going to be an HOA responsibility on the sliding glass doors. If you're on the first floor, let me back up from that for a second. On the first floor, the sliding glass doors is probably going to be a unit owner responsibility, because that'll be in the restoration process. If you're on the second floor or up and you have wind damage from a slider, that's going to fall under the property and wind claim, and that would be the HOA responsibility. So hopefully I clarified that. January is the last month we have as a rental. I'm concerned about the lifting of the vacate ETA. What are we to do? Yeah, I don't have anything to tell you in terms of dates. I do think that as we get into this first week of January, if we see the crews here that have been promised to us, I think we're going to see the drywall process speed up considerably. But I can't tell anybody where they're going to be at a point in time in this right now. Okay, I'll give you maybe another minute here. Here's one more. How do the insurance companies know how much to send if you don't have a handle on all the costs yet? And we certainly don't have all the costs that we are incurred. Well, that's not how the insurance process works. It's not about the cost you've incurred. The way the insurance process works is an adjuster comes out, identifies what they feel is in the policy and what has been damaged, what needs to be replaced, and they write up a report. They send that to the carrier. There's an adjuster on the carrier side that approves that or changes it, and then that first check is sent to us with that report. So we've said before that we believe there's going to be a supplemental part of this process. The first check isn't the last check, if you will, and there'll be a part of this process where once you get a chance to review the report for your unit, If you've got receipts, if you've got expenses that are above and beyond what was originally given proceeds for, we're hoping there's a process where we can file a supplemental claim and you can get those proceeds back to you. But the process isn't you turn in your receipts to an insurance company and they reimburse you. Are vertical blinds across living room slider covered under HOA? Don't believe so. The vertical blinds, any of the window treatments are not part of the master flood policy because that's considered personal property. So, okay, we may try to do another one on Friday if we've got some more information to report. Until then, hopefully everybody has a good week, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks for coming out.